Okay, great. So we'll get started. Once again, thank you so much everyone for joining this webinar today on the UCAT. So the webinar for this session is, if you could go back to the first slide, please. Yeah, so today in this webinar, we will be going through the top 10 strategies to score a 2,600 plus score in the webinar. So this session is specifically designed especially for aspiring medical or dental students who really want to stand out in the university competition. So over the next hour, we'll guide you through some of the key strategies that can make a real difference, particularly in the UCAT preparation. So before we dive in, I'd love to quickly introduce ourselves. So I'm Ishita. I'm the co-founder of SchoolUniGuide. Joining me, we also have Suraj. So Suraj is our expert UCAT tutor who brings a lot of practical insights and tips from his many years of tutoring experience. And last but not least, we also have Akanksha. And Akanksha is the product manager at SchoolUniGuide. So she will also be supporting the session and helping with any questions you might have at the end. Okay, perfect. So we're also very grateful to have the support of two fantastic partners for today's webinar. They will also be sharing their insights today. So first we have Oliver Martin from MedicMind. So MedicMind is known for their expert UCAT training as well as resources. And we also have Dr. Kritika Kumar, who is the founder of Dream Medic, and she helps students also turn their medical career into a reality. So a very big thank you to both of you for making this masterclass possible. Okay, so some of the key objectives of this webinar. First of all, we will start by understanding what the UCAT format is. So what are the different sections involved in the UCAT? We will also go through some of our key techniques for each UCAT section, which will help you boost your performance as a student. We will also walk you through some of the main mistakes that you should aim to avoid within your UCAT preparation. Time management is also a very crucial factor in the UCAT, as we will see. So we will explain and help you with some of our time management strategies in order to improve your answers and the precision too. So we will also go through some of the cutoffs and latest trends for this 2025 testing cycle. And last but not least, we will also share you some of our key resources, such as our UCAT calculator, as well as the interview predictor. So as many of you may or may not know, in 2025, there have been quite a few changes to the UCAT format. So one of the main and biggest change is that the UCAT score is now 2,700. So in previous years, it was 3,600. And the main reason for this is because the abstract reasoning section has been completely removed from this year's exam. So if you are a aspiring medic student, it's really important that you focus your revision on some of the other sections and basically eliminate the abstract reasoning section in your practice. So speaking of sections, it's really important to understand the different sections that are involved in this year's exam. So the exam format, it's a computer-based test, and it will test you on 4 core areas, which we call as subtests. And the total duration for the UCAT is 2 hours. So this includes instructions. Now, as we can see on the screen, there's 4 different tests. So one is the verbal reasoning test. So this has 44 questions allocated and the duration is 22 minutes. So if we do the maths, that's approximately 30 seconds you want to spend per question. And again, the scoring for this is between 300 to 900. The next section is the decision making. This has 35 questions and a total of 37 minutes. So approximately that's 1 minute per question. Again, similar scoring. Thirdly, we have the quantitative reasoning. So this basically tests your analytical skills, your mathematical skills, and this has 36 questions with a total of 26 minutes. That's around 43 seconds. And similarly, the scoring for this is also between 300 and 900. And lastly, we have the situational judgment subtest. So this actually has the most number of questions. So as we can see, it has 69 questions. And it also has quite a short time crunch. So it has 26 minutes, which means ideally you should be spending 22 seconds per question, which is obviously the smallest amount of time allocated. And this is scored in terms of bands. So you will be scored between a band of 1 to 4. So the total cognitive score will be between 900 to 2,700. Okay, perfect. So hopefully that gives you an overarching glimpse of the UCAT. I will now pass it on to Suraj, who will give a more deeper dive into each of these sections.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ishita, for breaking down the entire UCAT format for us. Now, as we are well aware of the fact that there are these 4 subtests which are provided in the UCAT sections, we also need to understand about the essence of each and every section here. So let us start with the verbal reasoning first. In the verbal reasoning section, we are having 44 questions and the time is very stringent. You are only having 30 seconds to answer one question. Now, why exactly is this verbal reasoning so important for an examination of becoming a doctor? That should be the first thing which must come in your head. For that, if you analyze what are you going to do into the future, you are going to go through a lot of patients' histories, right? But from that, you have to pick out the most important point which will help them in treating them out is going to be the most important step to become a doctor. So that is why verbal reasoning becomes important for you as well. Now, these are the 4 tips that you guys can use in this section in order to solve the questions. Now, let us start with the skim method first. Now, for the skim method, we are having this passage in front of us. Now, this passage is having 3 different passages inside it. Now, to save your time, what you guys can do is instead of reading out the entire passage, you can simply read out the question which is given to you and identify where exactly your answer can be hidden. So if I read out this question for you, it says the key difference between living in areas such as the Eden Valley and living in a town or a city is question mark. So accordingly, you will have to look forward towards this word, that is Eden Valley. Now this Eden Valley is only given in the first passage itself. So that means I can ignore the 2 passages which has been given below. Now, what exactly do we have to do in this question? We have to identify the key difference. So that means we have to create a contrast between the Eden Valley and the people who are the townsfolk. So let us look at how exactly we are going to do with the help of the skim method here. So we can clearly see in the first passage, people know their neighbors has been written. Along with that, unlike townsfolk has been given in the same statement itself. That means our answer is hidden somewhere here. Now, if you analyze it properly, the difference between these 2 people are the neighbors who are present there in the Eden Valley are closer than the person who are living in the urban cities and towns. That is why option number B here becomes the correct answer, where it says local residents' willingness to organize and do something for each other is prevalent, rather than the people who doesn't even know about their neighbors by living in the towns or the urban cities can be seen directly from here. Now let us quickly look at the tip number 2 for today of the verbal reasoning section, where we are going to talk about keyword identification and active reading. Again, we are going to read out the question first. The question here says which of the following is a false positive error. So that means we will have to analyze where exactly is this false positive error written in the entire passage. So from here we can clearly see false positive error is present in the first passage. But here we cannot use what we have done in the skim method to answer this question directly. What we will have to do is we will have to figure out what exactly are these statements say. For this, you require active reading as a second tip. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to understand from the first line what exactly is this passage trying to tell us. Now, here it is written, you are walking along a path through the jungle and you hear a rustle in the undergrowth. Now, this sound of rustling created a fear that was false, that made you feel like an animal or a predator is going to jump out at you. So with the help of this false positive error, we were able to identify we are trying to overreact, which is not even a threat for us. So it means in the options as well, we will be having the correct option as the one where we are overreacting in that situation. So let us look at option number C here. It says, our child has a fever, so we must vaccinate him for measles. Now, this says, even if you are having a very small problem of just having a fever, you are giving him a vaccination for the measles. That is inappropriate. That is why option number C becomes the correct answer. So even if you do not know about what exactly is the false positive error, you were able to identify answer number C is going to be the correct one. So these are some of the tips that you guys will be able to use in order to solve verbal reasoning section. Now let us move towards the next section for today, which is decision making. Now, as a doctor, you guys are going to be involved into several number of patients, and there will be a lot of emergency cases which are going to come in front of you. In those scenarios, how are you going to treat the person who requires the most attention of yours should be of the highest priority, and that can be done if you are taking the decisions correctly. Now, this entire section is divided into these particular sections. Now, these 6 sections will be asked to you, out of which I would like to explain you about how you can quickly figure out the answer for the syllogism section. And also, we will look for some logical puzzle grid as well. Now, for this syllogism, we have this question here which says not all the people present at the literature festival were poets. All the poets at the literature festival were authors, and some poets were not storytellers. So accordingly, you have to place this yes and no inside all of these conclusions which has been given to you. So for this, how you can use the Venn diagram? We can use this Venn diagram like this. At first, if I read out the second statement here, it says all the poets at the literature festival were authors. So that means whoever is a poet is definitely an author. And in the second statement, it says some poets were not storytellers. So if I keep this as it is and add a Venn diagram for the storytellers as well next to it, then it will help me in getting to the conclusions faster. Now let us see for the first one. It has at least one storyteller at the literature festival was an author. So if one storyteller is there, he can also be an author, can be defined by this region itself. So that means this conclusion follows, and we are going to place a yes here. And likewise, you can also figure out the solutions for the others as well. Now let us quickly talk about the next tip here for us in the decision making section with the help of a grid framework. So here we are having this logical puzzle in front of us. This logical puzzle has a prize draw where 2 boys are present there, Alec and Daniel, and there are 3 girls as well, Betty, Carol, and Edna. Each picked a prize. Now the prizes are pram and doll set, rollerblades, chemistry set, teddy bear, and jigsaw puzzle. With the help of these statements given here, you have to identify what gift did Edna is going to pick. Now these are 4 options given to you. With the help of the grid system approach, you will be able to solve this question within 30 to 40 seconds. But for that, we will have to analyze the entire statements. Now for the first one, if I show you the statement given to us is the pram and the doll set was not picked out by a girl. Now we already know here the 2 boys which are presented here are Alec and Daniel. So either Alec has received the pram and doll or Daniel has received it. From the second one, we can clearly see Edna and Carol were disappointed when the roller blades were picked by one of the others. So let us keep it aside for a while and move towards the statement number 4. It says Daniel was quite amused when he picked the giant teddy bear. So he wanted a teddy bear and he got that too. That is why he is amused. So we are going to simply place this tick mark for the teddy bear here. So from this, now I can clearly see Edna and Carol, both of them have got disappointed. That means these roller blades has gone to Carol. That is why we are going to place a tick mark here for the Carol. Now, if I look for Betty and Edna, it says Edna and Carol the chemistry set did not go to either Edna or Betty. So neither Edna nor Betty has got this chemistry set. So the other person who could have received it would be Carol here. Now, if we look at Edna and Carol, who have got disappointed after the roller blades, we can simply say that either Betty or Edna has got it. So the Betty was the only option that is left for the roller blades. So that means Edna is going to receive this jigsaw puzzle here. So this is how you can use the grid framework in order to figure out the answers quickly for these type of sections. Now let us move towards the next step for today, which is step number 5, and it is about quantitative reasoning section. Now, whenever you guys are going to become the doctors, you will be presented with a lot of ECG reports. You will be testing the blood samples as well. All of that is equipped with a lot of data. To take the important decisions, you need to analyze them quickly, and you should know what exactly does that value means. And that is why this section is present here in the UCAT section as well. So if I talk about the mobile ad market, which has been provided to you, here you simply have to figure out the value of the display ad market for the year 1. So year 1 is having the value here, and it is represented by the black circle, which represents the percentage change in the display ad. So what are we going to do is we are going to divide the entire question into 3-step approach. The first step is to identify what has been asked. So here you are asked about the value of the display ad market, and that too in the year 1. So if you look closely for the graphs which are given to you, you will be able to identify year 1 is given here, and this display ad is given on the left hand side of the graph. Now, if you look at the black circle, this represents the change in the display ad. And this is representing the percentage change. So that means 250% has been increased after the year 1. So the earlier value for the year was 1.2 million. This was the previous year value. Now, if you increase it by 250%, that will be 2.5 times of the earlier value, which is 1.2. And when you calculate this value, it becomes 3 million pounds. And when you add it back again with the 1.2, which is the most important step, because you also need to apply the correct formula with all of this. And that is original value added with the percentage change and then timesing it by the original value there. So that will be is equals to 4.2 million, which is option number D here. So this is how you guys can ace the quantitative reasoning section as well. Now let us move towards the next step, where all of these calculation and the formulas can be converted into a single sheet. Now, for an example, I have this formulas sheet in front of me. For the percentages, I have kept it like this. For 25%, we all know it is 25 over 100. I can simply write it down by 1 over 4. So whenever I will see this type of a value, I will simply times it by 1 over 4. Now for 15%, if I have to calculate the value, I can break it down into 2 parts. One is 10%, the other one is 5%. And then figure out the value of them accordingly. Now, this is how you can create your own formula charts as well and hang it near your study table or wherever you will be able to see it frequently, so that on the day of the examination, you do not require to cram all of the formulas at once. You will be well equipped with all the formulas, all of them at one place. Now, let us see how exactly are you going to go towards this situational judgment section. Now, this test is not only a test of your knowledge or how you perceive the data. It is also about how, what exactly is your personality. How exactly do you deal with people? All of this will also be tested in this examination. Now, let us see for the first example here. The question here says, Serena is a dental student who is shadowing a senior dentist, Mr. Wardet. Mr. Wardet is replacing a filling for a patient using a brand new tool. The tool is different to the one Serena conducted her training on at university. A few days later, another patient requires a filling replacement, and Mr. Wardet asks Serena to conduct the procedure while he supervises. She is not confident in her ability to use the new tool. Now the statement says, how important to take into account are the following considerations for Serena when deciding how to respond to this situation. So for this, you will be provided with a poll after I read out this question here. The question here says that Mr. Wardet may not give her other learning opportunities if he finds out that she is not familiar with using the latest tools. The first option is very important. Second one is important, of minor importance, and the last one is not important at all. So I want to know, how are you guys going to deal with these type of questions? Take your time, analyze, and then tell me which one of these options do you think is the correct option. Now, for the hints, I can tell you one thing is, try to become Mr. Warden. Go and fill in his shoes and then try to analyze the situation and then think about how will you respond in these type of situations. Now you are acting as a supervisor and you have a person under you who you need to guide, which is Serena. So from this question, I hope most of you will come to the conclusion that it is of the minor importance that Mr. Warden is not going to give the learning opportunities to Serena after this if he finds out that she is not well equipped with the latest tools. It might happen that your uh, person who is working under you can be in the developing stage. You cannot just exempt the opportunity from him or her in order to gain your personal uh, now these in these type of situations what generally happens is you have to ask the right questions to the person. At first, patient safety is going to be of the utmost importance. Then you will be provided with the learning opportunities as well, which is of the secondary importance with respect towards the patient well-being. So it means your patient should be safe, whatever may be the case. Now here, if he stops Serena from getting equipped with the new tools, he is trying to exempt her from entirely taking the experience of getting well equipped with the latest tools. So that should not be the case with the person who is supervising somebody. So you have to become that person and then accordingly you have to take the decisions. So these are the things that you can consider while solving such scenarios. The number one thing is be honest about about your own limitations and the limitations of the people who are working under you. Then the second most important thing is clinical supervisors have a duty to support trainees. You will have to support them. You will have to help them in improving and giving them a lead in order to solve new complex problems which are going to be faced by them. Now let us move towards the next step for today. And this tip will be shown by me after this question. This question says, Ria and Nathan are students who attend the same placements. Nathan has chronic back pain that sometimes makes it difficult for him to work. The school has agreed that Nathan can advise the school if his pain is too bad, and they will then help him to rearrange the placement. Last week, Nathan did not attend a scheduled placement and he did not call the school to let them know until afterwards. The school told him that he would fail his placement as a result. Now, Nathan feels that it is unfair and he is complaining to Ria about it. Now, how appropriate are each of the following responses by Ria in this situation? Assume that each of the following responses would be said politely. Now, here the assumption has been given to you that you should be polite enough to talk to the other person. And the reason behind this is Ria and Nathan, both of them are colleagues. So now you will be presented with another poll where the question is, you can't be too upset because you did not follow the rules, is what has been said by Ria. Okay, now in this type of a question, you are provided with a different set of options here. Option number A says a very appropriate thing to say. Option number B says appropriate but not ideal. Then we have inappropriate but not awful. And at last, a very inappropriate thing to say. So I can see most of you have answered option number B as the correct one, which is appropriate but not ideal. But if you look at the entire scenario, it should be inappropriate, but it should not be awful. This is definitely a case where Ria has said something bad to Nathan. But if you look closely, it is not going to be that awful. And the reason behind this is it shouldn't happen, but it is not that disastrous too. Because she should be compassionate with Nathan as well. That is why option number C becomes the correct answer. Okay, so this is how you have to analyze your own responses and then figure out how are you going to come into the band 1 and band 2. Now let us move towards tip number 8 for today, which talks about the GMC principles and how you guys are going to stick with it in order to solve such type of questions. Whenever you are presented with these type of questions, the utmost important point is going to be the patient care. Make sure the patient is safe in all these scenarios. The second most important thing is how professional you are in dealing with your colleagues and also your supervisors. Whether you are seeking out help in the cases wherever it is necessary, or wherever you are finding it as a limitation for you, whether you are going to your seniors and asking them for help or not is going to be of the utmost importance. Then comes confidentiality as well. Here you need to make sure that you are not sharing any data about your patient to the third party. And at last, we have teamwork and communication. Without this, I do not think any organization will be able to work. So these are the most important tips that you guys have to make sure that you are going through while solving such type of questions in situational judgment. Now let us move towards step 9 and talk about the UCAT keyboard shortcuts as well. For Alt C, we can clearly see it is going to open the calculator directly. For the Alt F, it is going to flag your question for the review. Then we have A, B, C, and D, which you can type it directly in the keyboard and it is going to mark your correct answer. Then we have Alt plus V, which is going to review all of the flagged questions. And at last, Alt P and Alt N, which will help you in moving towards the previous question and the next question, respectively. Now let us move. And also, there is a very important point that you guys need to be aware about is the backspace. Whenever you are going to hit the backspace, the entire digits are going to delete it from here. So make sure you are using it whenever it is necessary. Otherwise, whatever calculation that you have done, you might be missing out on that. Now let us move towards the tip number 10 for today, which is the most important slide for the entire session. It says that at first you guys are able to flag any question wherever you want to review that question at last. So you can use it to mark all of those questions and then get back to it whenever necessary. And the second most important point is talking about there are no negative marking in the UCAT examination. So make sure you guys are answering each and every question which is provided there. And this gives you an opportunity to take the risk. Wherever you feel that there is a 50-50% chance of getting an option correct, please go for the first option that is going to be the correct one. Then there should be the proper reviews of the mock test that you guys will be taking for practicing such type of examination. Whenever you take that mock test, analyze what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and where you need to work. Then comes mental health and avoiding burnout. This is the most important point for today. And the reason behind this is whenever you get into any competitive examination, there will be cases where you will have a vast syllabus in front of you. But there you need to ensure that you are only dividing them into certain parts and not trying to finish it up within a limited amount of time. Give yourself 6 to 7 months for this preparation. Then only you will be able to analyze each and every section properly, and then you will be able to see the improvements as well in your results. Okay, now I would like to call Oliver from Medic Mind in order to share his experience about UCAT and how he has helped in achieving this percentage here for the other students by keeping them under his guidance. Over to you, Olive.
Thank you very much, Siraj. There we go. The slide is up. So good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much, Siraj, for sort of covering, the UCAT in, great level of detail there. I'm sure all of the students will be sort of thirsty to sort of just get on with it now. So my name is Ollie, and I'm an operations manager at Medic Mind. So at Medic Mind, we offer personalized one-to-one online tutoring, which offers you flexibility and but it is also tailored to your learning style and specific requirements. So for the UCAT, one of our specialist tutors will guide you through each section, focusing on the how and the why. So it's not a case of just sort of completing X amount of questions. It's really sort of getting to the core of how you actually answer a question, which I think will then improve your accuracy and your time efficiency as well. So that's the sort of online tutoring in a nutshell. And then throughout the year, we also offer UCAT Live days, which are again are led by our team of expert UCAT tutors, and these usually take place either in person or online, depending on your sort of geography. And we also have an online course, which is an asynchronous sort of self-paced program that can be completed in conjunction with your sort of one-to-one online tuition. So with this, you will have access to over 100 hours of video tutorials and a question bank with over 8,000 questions. So plenty to get stuck into there. Now, we also offer full application packages, which are really designed to help you with every part of the application process. So it's a sort of 360-degree sort of approach, really. So we will assist you with the UCAT or the GAMSAT, depending on which one you are sitting. We will also consult on your university choices, help you sort of make the decision that is best for you. We will also assist with your personal statement, which is very, very important. And then finally, we will sort of assist with the sort of interview side of things, which for medical students is it's an intricate and quite sort of complex part of the application process. And then finally, our work experience, which is an immersive sort of career-focused simulation, whereby you'll be able to practice clinical skills, visit a top London teaching hospital, and also get a head start on your UCAS application. Now, you will be provided with links to all of the sort of relevant parts of our website at some stage after this webinar. So do not worry if you haven't sort of, taken a note of everything. It will all be followed up. And this final slide really sort of illustrates our impact within the sort of within the space, really. So, as you can see, we've got a hell of a lot of hours under our belt, and we really, really are best in class. But thank you very much for listening to me, and hopefully we will either see many of you on our work experience programs or coming through and completing some online tuition with us. Back to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver. And I request you guys to check out the links that we have shared in the chat below. It has all the main courses and products that Medic Mind has to offer. So you can click on the link and check out their website. And we will also be sharing all this information in an email after the webinar. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Kritika Kumar from Dream Medic. She would be walking us through the top mistakes to avoid and the ways UCAT courses that Dream Medic has to offer.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Akanksha and SchoolUniGuide for inviting me to be a part of this amazing webinar and giving me the opportunity to introduce parents and students to Dream Medic. So let's begin with the most common mistakes to avoid during the UCAT exam. We all know UCAT is a race against time. Sections are tightly timed. Students often panic or spend too long on one question. At Dream Medic, we teach students the techniques on how to pace themselves during the exam. The second point is not to waste time searching for the perfect answer. Eliminate clearly wrong options, and this is especially useful in the verbal reasoning and decision-making sections. Even if you're unsure, narrowing it down gives you a better shot. Thirdly, each section tests different skills such as critical reasoning, logical reasoning, numerical analysis, and ethical judgment. Students often perform well in one and poorly in others because they don't adjust their thinking. So you must practice switching your mindset between the sections. Number 4, technical mistakes such as clicking the wrong button, misusing the calculator, or not flagging questions properly are surprisingly the common mistakes that cost marks. Number 5, the UCAT isn't just an academic test. It's an exam that tests your mental resilience and focus. You must train individually on each section and then practice full-length mocks under time conditions to maximize your chances of a high score. So at Dream Medic, we train students to excel at these techniques, which ensures a much higher score as opposed to self-learning platform. Moving on to the next slide. Now let's quickly cover the 6 most common pitfalls students fall into while preparing for the UCAT. First of all, starting too late. This test needs consistent practice over time. Cramming will not work. Second, not having a strategic plan. Random practice without a structured route leads to burnout and poor performance. Thirdly, relying only on free or sample resources. These are helpful to begin with, but they're not the best resource and are not reflective of the real exam difficulty. Number 4 is neglecting the full-length mocks. Mocks help build stamina and stimulate real test conditions, and they are absolutely essential. Number 5 is failing to review your mistakes. Practice alone isn't enough. Learning from your errors is what drives improvement. And finally, not seeking professional coaching. Proper guidance can help you avoid wasting time and effort and give you strategies that actually work. So avoid these traps and you'll prepare smarter, not just harder. At Dream Medic, we are more than just a coaching service. We are a powerhouse of experience. I bring years of academic mentoring and exam strategy with my co-founder and my husband, who's a leading robotic colorectal cancer surgeon. And we understand exactly what it takes to thrive under intense pressure. So we've guided hundreds of students through the demanding journey into medicine and dentistry, not just with content, but with mindset, confidence, and structure. Our approach is evidence-based, personalized, and proven to work. So we even have a collaboration with Medify, which is one of the most trusted names in UCAT prep. And even they believe that experienced educators add value to the learning the student has to do over the course, over the UCAT preparation. So what is it in here for you? We are offering an exclusive price for our 6-week UCAT course. So we specialize in a 6-week training program. UCAT is all about working smart in the time that you have. So, a lot of you are working through your A levels, aiming to get the high grades. But actually, this is now the time from June onwards where you have to focus on your UCAT prep. So if you dedicate these 6 to 8 weeks towards your UCAT prep, you can ace it. So ours is an intensive program. Every Sunday, we have a 2-hour live lesson in which we'll teach you section by section. So week 1, we'll start with verbal reasoning. We'll teach you the techniques, the skills, the shortcuts, because time is a big, big factor here. And then because of our collaboration with Medify, you would learn and practice your skills on Medify. So in 4 weeks, we train you on all the sections. The 5th week is going to be a troubleshoot session where you bring in any doubts you have. Then we cater to your, any doubts that you have over this course of your preparation. We cater to that. And the last session is a mock exam, and we give you a tailored feedback. So we offer, of course, as you can see here, usually we charge $499 for our 6-week course. But to the SchoolUniGuide attendees, we are offering a 20% discount, which of course is valid only for, I think, 24 hours or so. So yeah, do visit our website. We offer personalized coaching, both, I mean, I'm an academic, my husband being a medic, we understand the system thoroughly. And if any of you would like to book a one-to-one call with me, Kanksha can share with you my Calendly link, and I'll be happy to assist you in your UCAT journey. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you SchoolUniGuide.
Thank you, Dr. Kritika. So I thank Dream Medic and Medic Mind for walking us through the key UCAT resources that you guys can use in your preparation. Now, I'm Akanksha, and I would be walking you through a very interesting tool that SchoolUniGuide has come up with, which is the UCAT score calculator and the interview predictor. So you can head over to SchoolUniGuide, which is schooluniguide.com, and under the university in the mega menu, you would be able to see our tools and calculators that we have created for UCAT students. So under university, you can see the UCAT score calculator, and this calculator essentially calculates your scores based on your marks in UCAT. So for example, depending on where you reside, for example, if you live in the UK and you are interested in dentistry courses, you can use this to input the scores that you get in the UCAT out of 900. So these would be the scaled scores that you have gotten and the situational judgment band that you have qualified for. So with this, you would be able to check exactly which university courses you have a high probability of getting into, and then followed by the low and medium probability courses as well. So you can check out SchoolUniGuide. You can use our free tool and see which university courses you qualify for. At the same time, we also have a very interesting course finder tool. So you can click on courses here on the mega menu, and you would be shown this page where you can filter the various courses in the UK by the different type of universities that you could be focusing on, or perhaps the course discipline. So for example, if you are looking for medicine by specialism, you're looking for courses within this discipline, you can use these filters. You can use location filters. Perhaps you're looking for a bachelor's degree and you are looking to study full-time. With these filters, you would be able to narrow down your options. And you can also check out the median graduate salary ranges which are provided. We have gotten this data from verified sources from the UK government and universities. So this gives us the list of courses which would follow your requirements. And you can read furthermore about these courses. You can check out their entry requirements and a lot of other information. At the same time, we have also released a guide which is called the How to Score 2600 Plus in the UCAT 2025, the Ultimate Preparation Guide. So I would give you a quick look into what this guide entails. So here, basically, we have covered all the major UCAT courses. We have talked about the salary and employment rates of each of these courses. In this guide, you would have a subject-wise breakdown of the key subjects that you have to cover, what life as a doctor in the UK looks like. You would be learning more about that. And as you can see, we have also mentioned the league tables here. So we have the standard entry, graduate entry, gateway to medicine, and dentistry league tables. So in the league tables, we have information such as course fees, the median salary, student satisfaction, which has been reported by the UK government, as well as the research quality and teaching, which has been rated. And at the same time, you can also check out the detailed entry requirements and other such information for each of the courses on SchoolUniGuide. So with this, we would also like to show you that for all webinar attendees today, we are sharing the free UCAT 9-week preparation plan. So we have segregated this plan subject-wise. So as you can see, we have detailed out the various week-wise approach that you can entail for verbal reasoning. We have mentioned the focus areas that you can focus on, the daily tasks you should undertake, what could be your weekend task for that week, what should be the target. And you can also check this free planner. You can also download it, keep it in your system, and basically utilize it. So with this, we come to an end of the webinar. A very big thank you to all of you for attending. You can use the coupon code SUG25 to get a 25% off on our UCAT guide. So do check that out. And we would now like to open the chat for any questions that you guys could have. The team here would take them over and guide you through. Thank you. So any questions, you guys can just mention it on the chat and we would take it forward from there. So we have a question from Danielle. I panic during time tests and make careless mistakes. How can I manage test anxiety? So this is a very honest question, which I would say is applicable to all students, regardless of which examination they're preparing for or which stage they are in their school. So when it comes to anxiety, the main, I would say, medicine for it is practice. The more you practice, the more comfortable you are with the syllabus, with the different types of questions, and the less anxious you would feel. And at the same time, you can definitely follow some good routines. You can make sure that you're getting your good 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Having said that, I understand how difficult that can be for students, especially in this day and age with extremely high competition out there. But yes, do take care of yourself. Your physical health impacts your mental health. So make sure that you are well rested, and it would really help ease your anxiety. So we have another question. With the exam so close, should I focus more on practice tests or reviewing content? So with this, what I understand is that you're basically asking whether you should keep practicing more tests right now or whether you should revise the concepts which have been taught to you. So the general approach to this is a mixture of the two. What we suggest is that you take the examination, you take your practice test, and before you jump onto the next practice test, make sure that you have understood exactly where you've gone wrong in the previous test. Make sure that you've highlighted which topics or subtopics you could be struggling with, and first practice those topics before you move on to the next test. So this would make sure that you're not just flying through practice tests with lots of low scores in your mock exams, but instead you are reflecting upon it and you're being basically forced to improve upon your weak areas as well. Michael has a question. Can you please send the SchoolUniGuide coupon code? So the coupon code is SUG25. You can use it to get 25% off on the UCAT guide. Sarah has a question. I've been practicing VR a lot, but my scores keep varying a lot. One day I'll do well, and the next I'm back to struggling. How can I become more consistent with only a month left? So we understand that, and generally when we look at the fact that you are performing well in certain mocks, but perhaps not able to replicate that performance, it's generally because you have aced certain topics and you're really good at certain topics, but you haven't perhaps properly covered the concepts in certain difficult topics. So if you get more questions from the topics that you're comfortable with, you would be scoring higher in those particular mocks. So it would be best to just reflect on the mocks where you scored less and see which topics or which questions it were that you were struggling with, and try to focus on those topics more. Joel has a question. My daughter is planning to take the UCAT next year. What should she focus on first? So when it comes to the UCAT, when you say focus on first, what I understand is which subject she should focus on first. So with this in mind, we would suggest that you focus on the technical subjects first. So I would say quant happens to be one of the subjects that is slightly more difficult as compared to perhaps situational judgment and verbal and decision making. So make sure that you're starting off with quant. There would be a lot of formula for you to remember and practice. So yes, start with quant. You can then move on to verbal reasoning, and post that you can obviously keep practicing with decision making and situational judgment. But having said that, we also understand that different students have different strengths. So it would be best to perhaps sit one UCAT mock at the beginning itself, so that you can understand where exactly your daughter sits. Is she perhaps very comfortable with quant, and perhaps she's not familiar with situational judgment sort of questions? So make sure that you're giving her a diagnostic assessment of sorts, so that she can figure out exactly which subject it is that she's struggling with. And as this year is asking, can I find the presentation when the meeting finishes? So yes, we would be sharing all the slides with a recording of the webinar on email after the webinar is done, so you would access it there. Harry has a question. How important is the UCAT score compared to other parts of the application? So the answer to this is that it depends. It depends on the course and the university that you're looking to apply for. But our recommendation would be to check out the entry requirements of that particular course. So depending on the course, they would have perhaps more stringent entry requirements. You might need higher grades in certain subjects. So do check that out. And only when you deep dive into one particular course would you understand how much weightage is being given to the UCAT score. Oliver is saying that we have developed a UCAT diagnostic assessment at MedicMind. So that is great. Oliver, if you want, you can also share the link on the chat, so our students here can check it out. Sophie has a question. What score should I aim to get into the top university? So as the name of the webinar goes, 2600 would be an extremely good score. But having said that, you should just try to score as high as you can. It's best not to keep an eye on the score, just focus on your preparation and try to get as many questions right as possible. Rajiv has a question. When is the best time to start revising? So now would definitely be the best time to start revising, with approximately a month left for the examinations to start. And it also depends on the students. So we have seen students who've started preparing around 4 to 5 months prior and have revised in the last 1 month, and they've gotten really good scores. So depending on where the child lies at this point in time, we would suggest allocate at least 2 to 3 months for just revising all the concepts. So Kritika has also mentioned that at Dream Medic, we offer full support in coaching. And you can also check out her Calendly link and book a consultation. Great. So while we wait for a few more questions, we can perhaps show you a couple other tools that we have, which you can use as a student in the UK. So SchoolUniGuide has created a student finance calculator as well. So for those of you who are seeking to fund your education in the UK, you can use this tool to figure out exactly how much student finance you could qualify for. So here, for example, you can mention what type of financing you're eligible for. You can check what is the mode of study that you are looking to undertake, when exactly is the course starting, and what could be the tuition fee. And we would also be taking into consideration how long the course would be. So you can input whatever is the number of weeks that the course runs for. There are a couple of questions related to whether you're a final year student and what are your living arrangements like. We also consider your household income, because this is extremely important when it comes to figuring out whether you qualify for certain student finance. And you can also see here that certain types of courses are given preference. So dental, medical, and healthcare courses are definitely given preference. And at the same time, certain social indicators, whichever apply to you, you can select that. And from here, you would be able to figure out exactly how much loan you would be eligible for. So we call this the student finance calculator, and you guys can check it out as well. Michael says, please remind me, no negative marks, right? Yes, there are no negative marks. And at the same time, we also have our UCAT tariff calculator. So those of you who have who basically looking to calculate the total tariff of your UCAT's points, you can see, for example, you would have to check whether you live in England or Scotland. You would have to check your qualifications. So for example, in A levels, whatever is the grade that you've gotten, you can input these. You can add more qualifications depending on what exactly are the various subjects that you've undertaken and what is the score that you've gotten in them. And based on that, it just quickly calculates the tariff. And yes, so you can check out all these tools under the university mega menu. So we can see we have the student finance calculator, UCAS tariff, and UCAT score calculator as well. And for those of you who could be perhaps international students who are looking to relocate to the UK in order to undertake your bachelor's studies, you can also check out our services. So we provide visa counseling services for international students. We also have a relocation and admissions guidance for international students. So you can check those out. Those of you who are applying for courses which require SOPs, or perhaps where you need to qualify for the IELTS, you can check out our services for these examinations as well. You would be able to access these under the shop section in the mega menu. You can click on guides and services, and you would be able to access all these services in one place. So someone is asking, is the SUG calculator free? Yes, all our calculators are free. Great. So looks like we have come to the end of the webinar. I would like to thank Oliver and Dr. Kritaka again. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And stay tuned. We would be sending you all the slides that you've seen, the planner that you've seen, and the webinar recording as well. Thank you so much.